Hello guys, hi my people, how you guys doing? Today we are trying to give a shout out to all our single parents. Hi single parents doing this fight alone. It's not easy. So it's a struggle whether you're doing this thing by choice or by force of circumstance. One thing you should not do is feel as if your life has ended. Don't agree to feel as if your life is over. Yeah? My son is now 21. And things have settled down now. But of course you guys all know that he was not born 21, right? I've seen some stuff, and I just felt like I needed to encourage some single parents. It doesn't matter whether you're a mom or a dad. I know it can be a little different depending, but as long as you're parenting on your own, it's there. You're going to feel it. You're going to go through something, and it's going to be difficult. When you're juggling so many things, especially if you're on your own, try not to get too busy, especially if your kids are young. Try not to be too busy so that you don't have time to bond with them, so that at least they always feel they have a parent to reach out to. You understand? Because even if you went through something like a separation, a divorce, that kind of thing, and you are the ones with the kids, they still need to feel like they have a parent figure. They still need to feel like they have a stable home. Try and make the home feel as much as it was before as possible. And ask for help, guys. Ask for help. Don't ever fear to ask for help, because you're coming from a place where maybe you were sharing duties. You had a maid, you had all that stuff. If you go from that to doing everything alone, maybe you're going for the parental meetings on your own, you feel the difference. Don't fear asking for help. If you have several meetings, divide them, branch them up, so that you can have a relative or a friend attend one meeting, maybe for one of the kids, while you attend for another, and then exchange. That type of thing. Don't feel overwhelmed because you're trying to do every single thing on your own. That's one of the fastest ways to get to burnout. Yes, I was trying to think of some positive strategies that can help us reduce stress as single parents, more so if you don't have too much outside help. So one of the best things which you need to do is to show a lot of love to your child or your children. Let it not be that the pressure you're under or the stress you've been operating under from having to juggle all these things on your own causes you to neglect that section. Praise the child. We're not talking about spoiling them, but praise them, give them enough, show them unconditional love, the same way you used to do before, or the same way you would do if you had a partner to give you some help. Set aside some time each day. Play with them if they're the age of playing. Bond with them if they're older. Read to them, just find ways in which you can spend time with them. Quality time, preferably on a daily basis. At least they know, like maybe it's just before bed, you have some time you spend with them. That's one thing. Another good thing is having a routine. Again, mostly with younger ones. When you have structure, you find that things like regular meal times or certain set hours that are bedtime work very well for younger and upcoming kids. They know that at a certain time we're eating, at a certain time it will be time for bed, and it helps them know what to expect, and it kind of gives them, they tend to become more grounded because of it. It looks like a small thing, but it does a lot to help put structure in their lives. And if you must go, let's say, if you're working, which you probably are, or running a business, and it's not conducive for you to go with your child, another important thing is to have quality childcare. Invest in good childcare, because there's nothing worse than leaving your child and then your mind is just at home because you're worried. Is this person cleaning well? Is this person taking good care of them? Are they getting their food? Especially if it's a child who even has napkins. That age where they need a lot of special attention. Quality childcare is everything. At least get a qualified caregiver who can even stimulate, if it's something that they need to read, she can be able to supervise, or she can be able to encourage them to do it. Let the environment be safe. If it's a place you're taking, make sure you've looked through the place, that it's secure. If it's someone who's coming home, make sure you have the background of this person so that you're not leaving your kids with just a complete stranger. Sometimes because of work, things are so tight that you don't have a chance to check well, but it's worth it to even take a few days off and make sure that you've gotten the right person, so that when you leave your kids, you're able to concentrate on what what you're doing. And then the temptation to leave an older child in charge, it's actually not the best thing. They can help you once in a while, but don't give them the sole responsibility. Don't let the older child be the primary caregiver to these others, because it builds some kind of resentment. They also have to have their own life, and it also means, in the same vein, you also have to be very careful about handing them over to friends and relatives. It's way better, unless you really can't avoid it, or you have maybe a parent who is free and already willing, maybe offering themselves. Otherwise, it can prove difficult in the end. It can become problematic. So another thing is to set limits. Have limits. Explain house rules and expectations to the child. Let them grow up knowing, we don't do this. When you eat, take your dishes. Those type of things. Because they end up building some kind of resentment a lot of the time. And first and foremost, you have to convince them. Let them know it's not their fault. You're not blaming them for anything. Let them know the breakup isn't theirs. The breakup is not their fault in any way. But on the other side, on the flip side, don't spoil them trying to make up for the absence of one parent. That's another tempting thing. You can find that because you're trying so hard to make them have some balance, you end up going to the other extreme, which is also very unhealthy. So it's good for them to have limits. Let them know that this and this mom doesn't tolerate, this isn't allowed in our house. Kids grow up very well with set standards when they know, like things like speaking respectfully. Let them know that you're not going to tolerate any rude outbursts because they're dealing with an issue. There'll be other ways of, sorting these things. You can talk to them, let them express their feelings, but don't be rude, So, if, for instance, some boundaries are overstepped, let them know beforehand that, okay, if you do this and this, maybe you will be denied watching your favorite cartoon, your favorite program. Screen time is going to be limited. You can't play on your tablet, those type of things, so that they know, when I do this, there's a consequence. It's not just going to escape because now mom is on her own raising us, or dad is alone, mom is no longer there. She used to be the strict one and all of that stuff. And then another thing, I'm just reeling them off, guys. Don't feel guilty. We have lived under guilt for the longest time when you're raising your child on your own. For some reason, you're just guilty. I guess it's because you know you've denied them this parent, the second parent, because you had to leave or whatever reason it is. And the funny thing is that even when people, mostly women, leave because of things like violence, they still feel guilty, because I guess the person who's affected is the child and they don't know what was going on, until much later on they are not aware if there was any violence going on. It's really not their business. But do not blame yourself or over spoil these children because you're raising them alone. That's another no-go. Take time when you need an off day. In fact, it's good to have, not even when you need, arrange regular off days. Have time for yourself. You need to recharge. It's normal. Have regular off days, and when you go, relax totally. Recharge your batteries. Tell yourself your child needs this. Your child actually needs a refreshed version of you. When you come back and you've had your time alone, you've done your gym, you've done your spa, you've done your time out with your girlfriends, you come back refreshed. And that's very important, because you don't start to resent them also for taking up all your time. You no longer have a life. Everything is just them, where you could have gotten a break. You have to run home and do homework and do all of these things. No. Which kind of ties with the next point, which is take care of yourself. The temptation to neglect yourself, let yourself go, focus everything on and only on the child is not healthy either. You must include physical activity as part of your daily routine. Eat well, eat as healthy as possible, get good sleep, rest, and have time to enjoy on your own. Give yourself some quality time, have a time out, and try as much as possible to do what you normally would have done. You know how your normal day, your normal activities used to be. Try as much as possible to keep it like that, and then lean on others. If you can organize a carpool schedule for taking kids to school, don't kill yourself trying to be the be all and do all the time. That also doesn't work. Arrange a carpool if you can. If there's no school transport, things like that, pick and drop them on time. If there is school transport, please try your best to make it a priority as one of the things which you can do, so that you also reduce your requirement. You don't have to be taking them to school, to the bus, especially if they are different. If you have several kids and they have different times, which is mostly the case if they are some space apart. So get a couple, kids from the same school, maybe who are near you, or public or school transport. There are a lot of, like, in the area where when Eric was growing up, there used to be, guys would have private, like a school would have a vehicle that carries kids from different schools, several of one school. You didn't even need to know someone. You just be given the contact from the school, get in touch with the driver, and organize how your child will be picked at some point. Another thing is, if you can join a support group for single parents. Just a place where maybe you can meet on Saturdays or on a certain day of the week when all of you are available. You sit, you share, you discuss what you're going through, you get solutions from one another, or you just vent. It's a nice thing when someone who's going through the same thing that you're going through is usually the easiest person to discuss with. They understand, they can feel your pain, your issue, right? Yeah, so joining a support group is good if you have one, or you can get counseling if you feel you need to, depending on the circumstances of how you got single, or you just get tired and you want to talk to someone who won't judge you, someone neutral, a counselor you can trust. So that's also a good person to look at, to talk to. Loved ones and friends can also come in very handy if you can trust them. Maybe you don't want to share all your issues with them, like with neighbors or that type, but where they can help, if you have one who you trust, you're free with, that is another thing. That's another person who you can reach out to. And faith communities are also very good resources in church. And as much as now church has become a little limited depending on the circumstance, you can still reach out and find out, places where you can have help. And then most of all, stay positive because it has bearing on your kids, and it's okay to be honest with your child. If you're having a difficult time, depending on how much they can understand, you can share a little with them. Tell them, it's kind of tough being away from dad, being away from mom, and I'm still trying to get used to it, so that if they also have something that's heavy on them, they can feel free to share. But make sure you're not blaming. There's not that kind of accusation and negative vibes, because this kid is still attached to this person. It's still their parent, right? So yeah. And always assure them that things are going to get better. Despite what we're going through now, it's still soon, but we'll get better with time. Things will be okay. You'll still be able to see the other parent, depending on the arrangement you have. Of course, as long as it's not death or something. And then so you discuss with your child, depending, there's an age appropriate level of responsibility. So, but again, be very careful not to overshare. Don't burden them with all your woes and start making them feel like small adults before their time. That's really not their responsibility. And keep your sense of humor as much as possible. Yeah. So those are some positive things which you can do for now, with immediately. And it looks as if it might be a bit lengthy, so maybe we'll come back and do another part 2 as we try to finish up, because I know there's a section where we're going to give a little attention to dads, because dads raising kids alone, first of all, I think are fewer. They are less than the moms, and it has its own challenges. The dads have their own different type of challenges. So we're going to find one session where we're going to pay a bit more attention to them, as it's a bit rarer to find a dad raising his kids, especially little kids. If he has to be taught how to breastfeed and all of that stuff, maybe he lost his wife early or during childbirth. They also have peculiar problems that are separate for themselves. So let's discuss the topic freely and see how we can be able to encourage each other. So we'll continue next time. Thanks so much, you guys. I'm really encouraged by when I talked to people and how much they told me, yes, would like to see a topic like this where we can have a forum to share. You can put your comments freely. You never know, maybe guys will meet and you can even form groups out of here, so until part 2 comes up, be safe, guys. Stay sanitized. Hey.